Black Friday and Cyber Monday did happen in between the last recording and now. Did anybody in this room buy anything?
I actually did.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
Well, okay.
Okay, go.
I don't like, there's a lot of the time, it's not fun to contribute to capitalism.
Well, and on top of that, at this point, most Black Friday deals are total bullshit.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing that I posted on Black Friday was a reminder about the Amazon price tracker, just to keep an eye on. So that's the one everyone keeps talking about. There's one that I also found that had higher ratings, and that seemed to have even more information.
Camel.
And it's basically just, if something says 50% off, you can just check a history and see if it was just 50% off a day ago before they raise it back to full price, so they could raise it back down again to say it was 50% off.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But what did you get?
So, unfortunately, I am once again going through an existential crisis over 2 products, so I bought both of them.
Nice.
Sounds about right.
I am buying finally a smart lock for my apartment. Currently, my apartment is weird because New York apartments are weird. My apartment was built in the 1800s. And so I have this special lock called the Mortise lock. It doesn't work with most smart locks.
Right.
So they're all, usually what you have to do with these is you basically have to get a special lock that just goes over the deadbolt turner, and it physically turns the deadbolt for you. As well as in New York City, you're not supposed to change the actual lock on the inside of your door. And so you don't even want to make it look like you have a smart lock on your door. Otherwise, your landlord will get really angry at you. So I originally bought the SwitchBot Lock Pro.
This is going to get you in trouble talking about it on the podcast.
You think
Avid listener, David's landlord.
Listen away for him? Just checking. You never know.
I really hope not. Okay. He's not brought it up, but he does live underneath me in my basement.
Okay.
So, so I bought the SwitchBot Lock Pro, and then unfortunately, because I had searched about SwitchBot Lock Pro, I heard about this new lock from this existing company that basically does the same thing, but it's way faster, and it runs over Matter over Thread. As a protocol guy,
So good.
I wanted it more. It is like double the price, but the SwitchBot Lock Pro currently has to use a hub that has to plug into the wall.
Kind of annoying.
As like a translator. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I would rather just have something that works over Matter. So I bought both of them to sort of compare them, just to make sure it works, because the second one said it works on UK Mortise locks, but I don't know if that's the same as mine. Anyway, that's what I bought. They were both cheaper. I did check the price, and it was like 30% cheaper than it usually is.
A real discount.
A real discount.
Hooray for a real discount.
Hooray.
Nice.
Yes.
Andrew, you got something too? Or?
I bought 3 things.
Oh.
Sort of.
Oh. Flex on him.
One I only want to bring up because David and I had this conversation the other day, and it's super related to his. I was putting up Christmas decorations after Thanksgiving when it's legal, and I bought some new. I've been using the smart outlets from Mayros, I think it is.
Mayros, I have those
Mayros,
too.
yeah.
Yep.
They're super simple. They're cheap. So when I search for more to plug in some Christmas lights so they can all just come on and off when I want them to, so they can be on all the time for Lane because she loves them, I had the option to pick 2, one with Matter and one without Matter, and I picked the one without Matter because it was cheaper.
This is a mistake.
David
Do you want to be
very upset with
or do you
me
not want to
yesterday.
be future-proof?
I don't see these cheap outlets as something I'm worrying as much about future-proofing. Although the ones I have lasted a very long time.
But if you have to buy new ones, you could have just bought the Matter ones.
Yes.
Well, the difference between the smart outlet and the smart outlet with threads or Matter support isn't as different as the lock, where you have something in the wall versus nothing in the wall.
Correct.
So it's like it's worth paying more to not have something in the wall, maybe. But I don't know if you'd get anything out of a smart outlet with threads versus not.
To me,
You still
also,
plug it in.
I almost only buy it to set schedules on them. So I'm never really interacting with it that much and turning it on and off. It is really cool to be like, hey, G, turn on Christmas. And all my like Christmas lights come on in the tree and everything. So I guess Thread would do that.
A big benefit of Matter over Thread is that it is much faster because it creates its own little local intranet and they all talk to each other.
Christmas
so
intranet.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to go into the internet, ping a server, come back to you, and then say turn on. It can just like send the signal directly to the device.
Which is a nice benefit, but from experience, the Miros one for me takes like 3/4 of a second to turn on.
Yeah, but what if it could take 1/4 of a second?
That would be cool. I don't know if I'd pay more for it, but it'll be cool. It'll be cool.
Yeah.
Did either?
Wait, hold on. That was one out of three. Get out of here.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
keep
sorry.
going, keep going.
Okay, second one is not really related, but still kind of related. It wasn't a deal, but there's this. I'm going to talk about disc golf again. I'm sorry. There's a disc golf company where all the discs they make are recycled, and they did a week of like recycling interesting things to make discs, and they made one completely out of iPhone cases. So I bought it.
Oh, that's very cool.
And I think it's really cool. There was only a few for sale because they were doing it more for like a video test, but this is officially a disc from Trash Panda made out of iPhone cases.
Does it suffer from being made out of iPhone cases, or should they just start
Probably.
making all of them out of iPhone cases?
No, it's probably not as good as some of the other discs, but it
Suffers
is
daily.
pretty,
It is, yeah.
which is cool.
It's got flex like a...
This was my way to incorporate disc golf into our office,
Yeah.
vaguely related. But yeah, but the big thing that I bought was an iPad mini.
Whoa, wow, the newest... Look at that.
The A17 iPad mini, it was $100 off from Costco.
Yeah.
And I told myself if I could find any reasonable deal for the new iPad mini, whether that was like same price but included a pencil or like more than $20 off, I would pull the trigger. And I did. And it's been awesome.
Can you
And
tell the full story behind this iPad mini?
I thought I ordered silver. And the purple is so minuscule that I still kind of thought I had silver, but did think there was like a
You were
purple
like setting
hue.
it up, and I was
And-
like, "Oh, you got the purple one."
It's the truck that drives by that has purple inside of it, and you can just sense it.
Vaguely, this is the LaCroix purple color.
Sort
but,
of whispered
purple.
purple in the factory.
but then, yeah, Adam was like, no, that's purple. And I looked down and I ordered purple, I guess. I didn't
I mean, that
realize
was
it.
the correct color.
It looks good.
The purple's the best color.
It's a good color. But yeah, I'm pumped. I've downloaded so many Google apps onto it, which kind of doesn't make sense. But
Funny.
part of the reason I got it is because like a bunch of my family has iPhones, and FaceTiming them with Lane will just be a little easier to do this at home. Plus, it's really nice to just like when I'm sitting on the couch looking at hockey scores or
That's how I get
Reddit
you.
or
That's how they get you. Then you're suddenly going to be using the Apple Sports app.
all of you have that. I heard it's terrible, so I'm not using that.
It's gotten better.
Okay.
Okay.
Great selling point.
It does work on the iPhone Mini now.
That is correct. It does
Yeah.
in fact work on the iPhone Mini.
Everyone's told me I'm going to switch to an iPhone now, and I've been like, no, this is kind of like the reason that will make it so I will never switch to
Yeah.
an iPhone, because it's the couple little things that maybe in my house are a little.
I don't think this is nearly as much of a gateway device as the MacBook is. So
I just think
personally,
Android tablets aren't fantastic.
tablets are pointless.
This is a mini. It's not even like I really care. Traveling and watching some like Netflix and stuff on this will be great.
Yeah.
And sitting on my couch, posting in hockey game day threads, making fun of how bad the Rangers are is going to be way easier. On
I
this.
called iPads the gateway drug to Apple. I think this is how they slowly get you and pull you in.
Is this how they got you?
Indeed.
Oh.
There's ways they can
Might
get
be
you
right.
through the iPad. You said FaceTime was one of those things, and then maybe you're out, and this one's cellular or Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
So it's Wi-Fi only. But
Yeah.
like, what if you're on the go and wanted to FaceTime?
I have never wanted to FaceTime on the
Okay,
go. I
okay.
can,
Just-
I can
you haven't
very
yet.
sternly
You
say
haven't
that.
yet, but you're gonna start FaceTiming more. You
I
never
don't-
know.
Do any of you guys FaceTime like in the grocery store? I don't get that.
Oh no.
I think it's a lot of the Zoomers will just FaceTime in public, like on the
I think a lot of the
subway.
boomers also.
And the boomers.
Seen that.
Okay, I have this theory that boomers and Zoomers, neither of them know how to use technology or know how to do critical thinking, but only
This
At David and
The
Mel.com,
millennials.
at Blue Sky.
this has your theory has two theories. Yes, they're all wrong, or us as millennials are the wrong ones, and
Everyone else who is wrong.
it is wine o'clock somewhere. So live,
Yeah,
laugh,
dude,
love.
the
my
generation that
guys.
systematically gave away every ounce of their data knows how to use technology. Way to go. Great
It was
point.
back when the companies were friendly.
Google's motto was
I
"Don't
did
be
it
evil."
willingly.
How was I supposed to
Yeah.
know they were going to be evil? There's no way of knowing.
Surprised their face got eaten by leopards by the person who voted for the party. The leopards eating face.
I have two things to say. One, I almost did buy the 10-inch iPad because it was also on sale because
The Air or the iPad?
the cheapest,
The iPad.
the $420
Okay.
one or whatever.
Yeah.
Because whenever I'm in the coffee shop, I often want to use three screens, and I can split Arc in two, but I always want a third one. Like I've been coding my website recently, and I need a version of it that is on the page that I can refresh, the version of it that has like the code in it, and then another window open for like researching stuff. But then I was told by a friend you should just use the finger swipe gesture on the Mac, spaces. I literally have never used that before,
Game changer.
and I'm now realizing I should start using that.
Spaces is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apple's gonna get rid of that because it just realized it lost an iPad sale from it.
It'll save you a lot of money on buying an iPad.
Yeah.
Spaces. I use Spaces a lot.
Yeah, and then my last thing to say, just really quickly, because I mentioned the SwitchBot Pro, the other lock I am going to test is the Aqara Smart Lock U200. So if you have experience with these locks, I would love to know which one that you like better.
For renting.
Yeah.
I just think that's a very specific thing in there.
These are both specifically made basically for renters.
Okay. But for
because
people who are
they don't
going to
replace the bolt.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Hit them up on Blue Sky.
hit me up on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
At davidmel.com on
So
Blue Sky.
you got the iPad, you got the disc, and you got what was the first thing?
Non-matter smart outlets.
Exactly. Okay. Okay. That's
How
a
about
haul.
deeply.
You said nothing, right?
I didn't actually buy anything. Did anybody over on that side buy anything for Black Friday?
I bought two things. One of them was new Joy-Cons because my Switch Joy-Con was broken.
Oh, they on sale?
Evergreen.
They were not. So.
You're like, everyone else is buying things. I need to do something.
And then on top of that, I also got an iPhone this season for
Tis the season.
tis the season.
For those that don't know,
Yeah,
I've known
okay.
Adam for a very long time. And him and I used to cover phones at Android Authority, and he would come with me sometimes and help me film. And every single time we'd go to a briefing, he'd be like, I'm buying this phone. I'm like, Adam, you need to stop.
I have a problem.
And
I just flipped phones into other phones, so that's what I did.
What number phone is that this year?
3.
That's it?
Yeah.
I thought you were higher.
No, I'm on 3.
I think he had more last year.
Maybe.
I'm also on 3 daily drivers this year that I bought with my own money and used.
Yeah.
So it's
I mean, in total, I've spent 0, so I consider that a plus.
you spent 0 on this new iPhone?
Yeah.
Oh, that's huge. Is there a
Well,
carrier?
not yet. I'm gonna flip my Z Fold 6, which will cover the price.
So what did
counts,
you
yeah.
sell to get the Z Fold 6?
The Z Fold 6, I had my mom's old iPhone and then my S24 Ultra.
Oh,
Yeah. Which I also flipped.
this feels like there is money being spent in there.
There definitely is.
Boy math.
Tech bro math. Yeah.
This is bro math.
If anyone is doing the math and trying to figure out, I'll just say my 3 daily drivers that I spent money on that wasn't a review unit that I used personally in between review units this year were the Pixel 8 Pro, which I got last year and used up to the beginning of this year, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, which I used for a very long time this year, and then the Pixel 9 Pro XL, which I've used since it came out from the S24 Ultra. Those are the 3 phones that I bought with my own money that weren't review units. Now we have multiple of them in the office, but those are the ones I spent my money on. So
I did buy one thing I just forgot about.
what did you buy?
I bought a 1-year update plan for a software package called Resolume Arena.
Nice.
Nice.
Is that it? Do we use? No, we don't. What is
We
Res-
did use it on the Trivia Extravaganza
Oh,
last week.
shout out to them then,
Yeah,
because that Trivia Extravaganza was incredible.
yeah.
If you haven't watched that already, well, you're missing out.
Doozy.
Just watch the first 3 minutes. You're gonna want to.
Spoiler.
Great.
I won.
Hey, well, that's a really big spoiler. Oh yeah, we got like the beginning of a new season this episode.
Oh,
we're starting
all starting
clean.
from
It's
scratch.
0-0-0 across the board right now.
Oh man.
That's huge for me. That's huge for me. Okay. What else? Okay, so that was great. Cyber Monday was a thing that happened. I got 800 emails during those days.
Yeah.
One of those emails was that The Verge was announcing a new subscription service. We wrote service, but it's more of like a tier. Subscription
Yeah.
tier.
It's a
Yeah, that's a good
dynamic
way of
They're kind of like splitting it up now.
sort of.
How do you break this down? Because
Okay.
they used to just have a free blog that everyone could read,
Mostly.
and has ad supported, but they had a paid newsletter.
They have a couple newsletters. Yeah.
Okay, so what is happening now?
Yeah, so in prior years, a few of their reporters had different newsletters based on different things. So Alex Heath had a newsletter called Command Line, which is sort of about social media companies. Has, yes, sure.
And that was
yeah.
a paid newsletter.
Paid newsletter.
Yeah.
Tom Warren has one called Notepad that's about Microsoft and Xbox and that kind of stuff. Now they're doing something where they are introducing something called a dynamic paywall. So it's not a traditional paywall like the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times where you basically can't read anything. It's basically like you can read most articles, but certain articles will be behind the paywall. And then also, if they notice that you are using the website like a lot, they'll start asking you to pay. There are still a few things that are going to be free forever. So they're basically asking hardcore people who use the site every day to chip in some money.
Kind of like Wikipedia.
Yeah, but Wikipedia doesn't force you to.
Oh, they are going to force you to.
Sort of.
Yeah, after a certain amount of articles per month.
If you're like a Verge Power user,
Because I thought you said
you'll get
asking.
paywall.
They're going to, so if they pick up that you're a heavy user, they will start restricting.
Yeah.
Because you've read a lot of free things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to put in here before we talk about like how much they're charging and everything is the reason of this, and it's the reason we've talked about a billion times on this podcast, is the more with AI and AI search stuff and like AI overviews that are pulling from content without pushing to the content to get them paid, companies and like websites like this are going to start losing money. So this is a way they're combating that by having subscriptions. I mean, it's not new to have a subscription on a website that with journalists. That's everywhere right now. And if, I'm sure a lot of us are subscribed to some sort of like news organization or something at some point, because it's getting so much harder for journalists to be able to put in a lot of
For
time.
sure. I mean,
things.
that's definitely part of the reason. Another reason is that SEO has just completely ruined the internet. If you don't know what that is, it's search engine optimization. When you are writing an article, if you want to appear in Google, you have to use certain keywords. If you've noticed that a lot of the URL slugs that you look at on the website that you're on have just like random keywords in the slug,
extra words.
it's because they have SEO specialists that help articles rank on Google.
Those are always funny when you like copy and paste something and don't see the whole URL, and then like
just
your
a bunch
text
of
message
random
just has like
40
50 words.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the annoying thing about this is that it incentivizes writing about specific things, using specific keywords to like frame things in a specific way just so that Google says it's authoritative and whatever. And it kind of like homogenizes the internet. And that sucks.
It also doesn't guarantee a good result when you get it. So like somebody who has all the perfect SEO tactics for titles and bylines and quick stuff like that, and then you click into it and it's like a gallery and like garbage, like they're winning because Google likes them more.
Exactly.
But it's not necessarily bringing you the content you're actually or information.
So if you subscribe, it also gives you access to full text RSS feeds, as well as a physical copy of their magazine about how SEO ruined the internet, which is very
Physical
fun. Physical copy.
Sure.
Yeah. So for the people that want like physical goods, that's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall this is a very good value. I think that The Verge in general has done a really fantastic job over the years at making a website that people still go to, because over the last 10 years or so, social media sites have just become aggregators of news and information, and it's not very common anymore to actually go to a physical website to read an article. And so I personally go to The Verge like every single day. I think that they said that they had a lot of people that go to the website every day.
I think it's like
they're one of
half a million
like
unique users or something like
half
that.
a million, something like that. Yeah, and they've done a really good job evolving over the years already. And I think that this dynamic paywall is a very good in-between option, because if they completely paywalled the site, they're stopping themselves from growing and just hoping that they get enough people that pay enough, but they're still limiting their reader base.
Sorry, 55,000 every single day this year.
Right.
That is extremely different numbers, though. Those are vastly different.
I mean,
numbers.
I've been in like deep in the forest where I didn't have data for multiple days this year, so I'm not one of those people, even though I consider myself like a superpower user of this website. So
I know you're reading The Verge on that 13-mile hike.
yeah. It is actually kind of one of my ticks, though. Like if you're bored in the doctor's office or something, like the few things that you do on your phone,
Verge it up.
refreshing The Verge is one of my things that I do.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
We didn't mention the price.
Yes.
So $50 a year.
It's $50 a year.
We have some experience at that price point. Very different things. $7 a month, though. $50 a year.
Yeah.
I'll probably pay it.
I'll bite. This reminds me of panels. A lot of things remind me of panels, obviously, because I help run panels. But the two things that it reminds me most of are you're going to get a reaction when you make something paid that was previously free.
Totally.
Totally get that. And it's just about whether or not you can justify the value to the people that actually care about that thing. So for us, it was like we have this small pocket of the internet that we see likes art and will pay for art. So here's the product we made for them. And for them, here is a probably much larger, but a pocket of the internet that will see value in paid journalism and pay for it. You will get reactions of people who are like, a paywall? I'm not reading anymore. Like, that's going to be a thing. And
sure.
I totally get that. But I do think they've sort of structured it in a way where they can appropriately find the people willing, by what you were saying, that dynamic paywall, people who read a lot, people who are on the site a lot, and sort of bring them to the way to support them that helps them make more good stuff.
I do really like this dynamic paywall idea, because there's times where like I hit up Bloomberg because there's like one specific article that I really, and like paying for that at that point is like, I don't know if I'm going to come back here again anytime soon. So this is like, and The Verge is probably one that I would get hit with the dynamic paywall. So like I will most likely be paying for The Verge.
It really, it's like a behavior thing. Like if I read, like here's pure honesty. I don't read Bloomberg very much. But when Mark Gurman tweets a link to the thing that he wrote on Bloomberg, I'm clicking in and reading Bloomberg that day. And if that thing is behind a paywall, my first thought is always, I could pay for this one article, but I don't think I'm going to read Bloomberg that much, so never mind. Now, I happen to have an Apple News subscription that unlocks it, so that's not a dilemma I face very often, but I feel like a lot of people leave that article at that moment. And so the more things that you can have available for free, they probably thought a lot about this, the more people will trust and read The Verge and become power users of The Verge, and that's going to be good for them. So the other thing that you mentioned, which is like the SEO sort of shaping the actual content and the websites, I think about that a lot because YouTube is the same way. People try to figure out what the algorithm is rewarding and they tailor their content around that. Right. And it kind of seems like no one is immune to that. And I wonder if there are YouTube channels that can just make whatever they think is best and ideally the algorithm serves it. And if there are similarly websites that don't think as much about SEO and just try to make the best stuff. But I don't know that that's much of a thing anymore.
I think it's impossible to be completely immune from SEO and algorithms, but they are at least trying to make it so it is less incentivized by having a monthly revenue stream so that they don't have to think about that.
I mean, I think the best practice in it is draw your line in the sand of like, where will I take like what is maybe a best practice and where I'll incorporate that in, but I'm not going to lose my initial morals of what we want to do here. Yeah. So that's probably the best way of doing it. And this is gonna help them. I do think they probably need to do this, because if a bunch of the articles they write, if you are just asking a specific tech question, Google's probably going to AI summary it, probably straight from The Verge, and they're going to lose that viewer every single time.
And you'll break your device.
So, yeah, I mean, I think this is awesome. I'm interested to see how dynamic works. I'm interested to see how many days until dynamic pricing hits me, and then I will start paying for The Verge.
Another cool thing is if you were already subscribed to one of the newsletters, those were $70 a year. So the day before this dropped, a lot of people got emails that were like, we refunded you $20 from your newsletter subscription. They were like, wait, what's happening? And so they actually got money back and got more stuff.
That's cool.
Which is very cool for those
are
people.
The power users.
Power users, yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's they've been changing really rapidly, like every year as the internet changes, and I'm rooting for them. I hope that this works. So,
yeah. All right. Well, hey, there's one more thing that just came out this week as we're recording this. Spotify Wrapped is officially out. And it was funny because every year everybody looks forward to Spotify Wrapped, and then it comes out and everyone goes, look at my thing, look at how many minutes I listened, and it's all super fun. And every year I think, I kind of want to know that about more than Spotify. I want to know that about my YouTube watch history. I want to know that about my life. I want to know all the stats. Don't you want to know all the stats?
Yeah, like what grocery store do you go to the most?
What if your car told you how many minutes you were driving?
It probably could. Your car probably could.
Definitely could.
So I thought about that.
Though.
And I think YouTube Rewind, as it disappeared, had a perfect branding opportunity to bring it back. Show me how many channels I watched, which ones I watched the most, how many scrolls, how far did my finger travel on my phone to scroll through shorts this year?
TikTok had that. It was like you could have made it halfway to the moon. Yeah,
that would be awesome. And then I could flex how far I could scroll. It would be great. But they didn't do that. But what somebody mentioned that was really interesting is there is like no switching off of YouTube. Like someone said, oh, what is Vimeo going to do watched? And then people use Vimeo. It's like, no, people just watch YouTube no matter what. But Spotify, I saw people say that they continue to use Spotify because Wrapped is so good. And I think that's real.
That's crazy.
And they're like, I don't want to ruin my Wrapped if I leave halfway through the year and start using something else. So it is that I found that interesting as well, that it's a competitive advantage for them.
Apple Music does it now, right?
Yeah.
It's a
Do they?
very
I don't
similar
even
thing.
know.
I believe they do something
They
extremely
do, but it's
similar.
not even nearly as detailed as Spotify. Spotify has so many features in Wrapped, especially this year. They added a bunch of new stuff.
Our podcast app, PocketCast,
Yeah.
kind of does a version. They can't call it Wrapped, but they do something else that's
Yeah.
kind of similar.
Yeah.
I want that for everything, basically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But
YouTube
anyway.
would be perfect. We talk about this every single year.
yeah,
But it would be so perfect. I don't know why they haven't brought it back. They literally could keep the YouTube Rewind branding too.
it's so Neil. Come on,
Come on, man.
Neil.
Come on, man.
I feel obligated to tell you, for us specifically, it wouldn't be as interesting as you think. Because this
Why?
morning I downloaded all of my YouTube history and put it in. Someone made this app like just on the website. If you Google it, like YouTube Rewind, whatever, you put in the JSON file, and it tells you what channels you watch the most, what videos you watch the most, and it's all things that I was researching for work. Like it's
I would still look that.
So
That
what?
sounds really
it's
interesting.
Marquez, MKBHD, Waveform
studio.
Podcast, iPhone, the studio,
Sure. It's
all the
funny
things
because
I'm looking for B-roll.
as a creator, it gives you viewership Wrapped. They give you like, here's how many likes your videos got this year. Here's how many
Yeah.
things. You know, they'll tell you some stuff, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I want that for everything.
Yeah. So they did add a lot of new features to Wrapped this year.
They really did.
So we can go through some of them. This year, they actually teamed up with Google. And if you remember Notebook LM, which launched a few months ago, that's basically where you can put some documents into this Gemini thing. And they have these AI podcast hosts that basically talk about your files to you and like teach you things or whatever. I don't know why YouTube Music didn't use this, because that seems like it would have been a better collab, but okay. And so now you can have these two podcast hosts basically just talk for 5 minutes about the music you listened to in your year.
I did not do it. You listened to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty cringy, but here, I'll play.
I was gonna say, wait, can
It's
we just play
cringy
mine for a
but
second because I didn't
impressive.
use it?
Yeah, like
It is
it
cringy, but
really
impressive.
gives the classic.
Does it play music or it just talks?
No, it just talks.
Okay, so we won't get copyright
We
struck.
won't get copyright struck. Oh, something went wrong. Please try again later.
Also, AI content cannot be copyrighted
Oh,
anyway.
I'm in airplane mode. That's why. Okay.
Oh, am I not still on the Wi-Fi though?
No, I turn on airplane mode to not have it interfere with the mic. Okay, Wrapped. Your Wrapped AI podcast.
Okay, let's unwrap this. It's time for your 2024 Spotify Wrapped, and we're your hosts, visiting from Google's
Why'd they make it
Notebook
breathe?
LM. We are here to take you on a musical
this say
journey
and
through
too.
your year.
Yeah, your year in sound. And what a journey it has been.
37,116 minutes listening to music.
Wow, that's like listening to your entire Wrapped playlist nonstop for over 6 days.
That is amazing. That puts you in the top 8% of Spotify listeners globally.
You are dedicated.
Very dedicated. You must really love music.
June 20th must have been quite.
That is,
It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like
320
holy
minutes of
blazing
music.
you over and over.
but it's so much worse than I thought it was
No,
gonna
it
be.
gets into personal things. It's like June 20th was your most listened
Yeah.
day, 300 minutes. Were you road tripping that day? And most people go back on their calendar like, wow, I was. And it's like,
Yeah.
you learn something about your music listening history, and it's kind of cool that it sounds like people talking about
I thought
you.
that was terrible.
I think people are going to be into it.
Yeah.
I don't think it felt like a real conversation at all.
I think it felt close enough that people would enjoy it because it sounds like it's a podcast about them.
Yeah.
It's just good enough to be there, and they're not going to share it. They're not going to, post it anywhere, but
Yeah.
they'll listen to it and be like, oh, yeah, that's cool.
People like personalized things.
Yeah.
And yeah. So they also added this new playlist that you can listen to. They have a music evolution playlist that basically brings you through your music tastes as the year progressed. So you like your top songs per month. And then they have like your overall top songs as well. And then they released some global stats, which are not at all surprising and extremely boring. That the most streamed artist was Taylor Swift, and then The Weeknd, and then Bad Bunny, and then Drake, and then Billie Eilish.
Does the Weeknd still make?
Yeah,
Am I
He
that
released a
bad?
new album
Did they-
He
recently.
released a new album.
year?
I haven't heard of
he dropped a
from
new
the Weeknd
Adam
in
and I
so
literally
long.
had the same conversation.
Oh, did you?
last
Okay,
night.
I
It
thought
was
you were
so
making fun of
funny.
me when you started laughing. I haven't heard of him
Cue-
since the Super Bowl.
cue the
Because he
Weeknd
was saying
gift.
how good the album was, and I was like, he has a new album?
Oh,
Yeah.
It's not,
sorry,
it's
the
not new
Weeknd.
anymore.
I
It's
have
not-
nothing wrong. I have nothing against the Weeknd. I just haven't seen him since the Super Bowl.
I just forget about the first half of the year at this point. Like it might have come out a while ago and I just don't remember. But
Cue the gif of him like looking through things, and it's Andrew looking for the Weekend album.
Yeah.
Also, the most string song was Espresso, which, by the way, there is a great Today Explained episode about how this was basically manufactured. So,
espresso.
But how it's the most played song?
yeah, because it basically was auto playing after like anything you would play for a long period of time, and they were basically like, yeah, the music group paid to have that happen.
I
Surprise.
think I've heard that song.
You've what?
You cannot go.
You've
outside.
definitely heard that song. We've played it in the office. I'm pretty sure. It's a great song.
I've probably heard it.
It's a good song.
Most streamed album is Taylor Swift's Tortured Poets Department is the name of the album.
Yeah,
It is.
pretty.
Okay.
Mid.
I'm not a Swiftie, so this is news to me. Cool. And the top podcast was the Joe Rogan Experience. I guess that would be fair for Spotify to declare that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I did some
Didn't shock
research.
me.
I actually did some independent research into that, and I found out that they were fudging the numbers, and it's actually waveform.
Oh,
Oh, because Waveform I've heard of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And
So
if
that
you
checks
haven't
out.
heard of it, then it doesn't exist.
And they just had their big trivia extravaganza, and they just did this like huge rerun that everyone was listening to. Obviously, that checks out.
I will say a lot of people tweeted at us and were like, the Spotify rap thing is unfair because I watch the YouTube podcast every single week,
Yeah, that's true.
but it's not on my Spotify.
Yeah, interesting.
if you do listen on Spotify and haven't watched Spotify Wrapped, I think there's a special little treat if we're your number one.
True. You don't even have to be the number one because you can go through all the low
But
ones.
I saw that and I don't listen to podcasts much on Spotify,
Yeah.
but that was for artists. Is there a podcast one where you can search through all your podcast things?
Good question.
Yeah, there is.
Yes,
So there
there
might
is.
not be. There is.
And you have
Thank
to
you,
be
Adam.
in the top X% or of that artist's
Okay.
listeners, I believe. And then you might see something special.
Well, I had Sugar Ray on there, so
So did I.
told you millennials are peak. We give you our data and we listen to Sugar Ray, and it's a good time.
All right, there's your opportunity. If you had a YouTube Wrapped, what do you think would be in it? Whether it's a channel.
Let's just do most watched channel for 2025.
Single channel.
Single channel that you think you watch the most of.
Like the most
2025?
followers?
2024.
Thank you, Adam. That's why we
probably-
ain't running it.
Mine's probably
I-
the Daily Show,
I'm gonna go first.
The
'cause
Daily
which
Show.
I feel bad about, but yeah.
I think my most watched channel of 2024 is a channel called Ants Canada.